in a trash pile. What we know so far about the attorney, Michael Howard, is that he does have a private practice in the Heights area. He is charged with murder and tampering with evidence. And at this point, we know that his son was 20 years old and had Down syndrome. Michael reportedly told authorities that he thought there was an intruder at his home and that he shot him, and that's how they arrived at the property in Sabine County. We're told that Michael Howard described this as a, quote, horrible accident, and admitted that he cremated the remains at the front of his property there in Sabine County. We're taking you now live, where we are awaiting a live update with more details from Sabine County. At this point, we do know that Michael Howard is in custody and he's being held on a $20 million bond. Let's hear what's being released this afternoon.
Material at this point in the investigation, I'm not going to answer it. If the answer is going to require me to disclose methods and means, I'm not going to answer it, because we don't ever answer questions about methods and means. Okay? His attorney is aware. I know he did not indicate to me if he was going to be here or not.
You're the interim DA, huh?
No, he is.
Oh, you're the DA now.
What's your first name?
Paul.
Paul Robbins? Robbins, R-O-B-B-I-N-S. Yes, sir.
You were an appointment, governor appointment, right?
I was originally governor's appointment, and I've since won my election.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Was it this November?
Yes. So I've been in office a little over 2 years.
Everybody ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. Good afternoon. My name is J.P. McDonough. That's M-A-C, capital D-O-N-O-U-G-H. And up here with me is the District Attorney for Sabine County, Paul Robbins. He'll be making a statement after I make mine, and then I will entertain questions like I told you about. If you don't mind, I got to put on my eyeball. On December 2nd, 2024, at or about 1400 hours, a deputy from the Sabine County Sheriff's Office was contacted by telephone, his work cell phone, by Michael C. Howard. Howard advised that deputy that he had accidentally shot his own son, Mark Randall Howard, whom he had mistaken for an intruder at his property. Howard further noted that this had occurred on the evening of December 1st, 2024, and that he had taken the body of the deceased, placed it in the front loading bucket of a backhoe tractor, and carried it to a remote area on his property and placed the body on a pile of wood and other burnable material, which had been previously set up, and then, his words, cremated his son in accordance with what he felt his son would have wanted. Deputies arrived at the location in the 2500 block of Mount Sinai Road and contacted Howard. He advised those deputies the same information and noted that the whole thing was a horrible accident. Howard also pointed out the shotgun that he claimed to have used in the incident, which was located inside one of the little structures there that they were using as a house. Deputies, of course, searched with his consent, searched the property and the buildings, trying to find Mark, make sure that Mark was missing. Mark was in fact missing. He then indicated to the deputies the area where he had cremated the body, which was located approximately 1.5 to 2 miles from the scene of the shooting that he reported. That location is also on property owned by Mr. Howard or his corporation. We obtained a search warrant. Deputies processed the scene along with the Texas Rangers after a search warrant was obtained, obviously, and we did recover what we believe to be body parts and bones, specifically a portion of the lower jaw or the mandible, which contained a few teeth. All bones appeared to have been burned based on the charring in the area around but where the bones were found was heavy with soot and ash. Additional items of evidence were also recovered. There were also indications that the scene of the shooting had actually been washed or cleaned using a water hose. The remains of the deceased were transported to the Jefferson County Medical Examiner's Office, where they are now awaiting autopsy. Howard is currently being held at the Sabine County Jail on a charge of murder and tampering with physical evidence, human corpse. His bond has been set at $10 million per charge.
I'm District Attorney Paul Robbins. I'm the District Attorney for the 1st Judicial District of the state of Texas, which contains Sabine and St. Augustine County. Again, you're aware that Mr. Howard has been arrested. He's in the Sabine County Jail. He'll be afforded every opportunity any other inmate is. Likewise, I've been in contact with his attorney. We'll be moving forward, as we always are, with an indictment before a grand jury. We're looking at numerous charges, including some misdemeanor charges, but additional charge to murder and to the desecration or mishandling of a corpse, but also tampering with evidence of the actual crime scene. So we'll be moving forward in the days to come. The Sheriff's Office is doing an excellent job in conjunction with the Texas Rangers of doing this investigation. That's being within the oversight of the Chief Investigator for the DA's office, Terry Maston. He's working closely with them, providing support, providing information and guidance from the District Attorney's office. We're working well in conjunction on this and hope to be moving forward with the investigation very quickly.
Do we have any questions?
Any timeline on the court proceedings?
No, sir.
No, sir. No timeline available on that just yet.
Can you talk about any previous calls for this property regarding?
There was some previous calls to that property. One involved the theft of an anvil some time back. There was a deputy dispatched out there. In fact, the deputy that he called on the cell phone, on his work cell phone, was the deputy that was out there Friday, November the 29th, in regards to some additional burglaries / thefts where a Kubota zero-turn 54-inch deck was stolen along with a lowboy trailer.
I've heard you say you worked in Sugar Land for many years.
Yes, I did.
You've seen some crimes. Can you put this in perspective regarding Sabine County and the bizarre nature of it?
It is a bizarre crime anywhere you are. I mean, just because of the nature of the event. Mr. Howard, committed this act, and then in the furtherance of that, burned the body and cleaned the crime scene, which as an investigator I would take as indicative of nefarious purposes, or for nefarious purposes.
Has the mother made any comments to the department about?
The mother was interviewed yesterday, and this, as was his eldest son.
How many siblings does this victim have?
He also has a daughter that's younger than the son.
So there's 3 total?
There's 3
Or
total.
anyone else on the property besides the father and the victim?
No, just the father and the victim.
How much? That's okay. Did he contact the wife and the mother before he contacted you?
That is my understanding. I do not have confirmation on that.
And he set the fire on
We presume he set it on Sunday.
How much of a delay was there between setting the fire and then calling that deputy?
Somewhere in the neighborhood of 17 hours.
Can you speak to what ties Howard has to Sabine County? Why,
He is a property owner in the county.
do we know how long he's owned property?
He's owned property he's owned property in the county for a while.
Okay. And the victim, are we going to get a photo of the victim or anything? Has the family provided anything on Mark?
I have not asked the family to provide a photograph.
Okay.
I do have a photograph of him, but it's from a source that I can't release it to you because it's not my photograph.
How long had the victim been at the home before he was shot?
If I remember correctly, they arrived either Thursday or Friday.
Did the father have any kind of criminal history on him?
I'm not going to comment on that.
Will his passport be revoked if he makes bond?
That
or
is a-
assets be frozen?
The passport will be surrendered as a condition of bond, one of many conditions.
Okay. And we know anything about assets as far as what he can spend money-wise? I know you can't run if you don't have money, pretty much.
There are no restrictions on, I have no information that would indicate that we would be going after any financials.
Can you talk any more about the son's special needs?
Mark, the victim in this incident, was diagnosed and has been diagnosed according to family with Down syndrome. He was a high-functioning, even had a job, but he did have Down syndrome.
When you say that he had placed his remains on a pile of wood, are we talking like a funeral pyre?
I did not have the opportunity to see the pile of wood before he burned it, so I can't answer that.
The entrance to his property is right next to Fairdale Baptist Church. Has anybody at the church claimed that they've seen anything?
We have not made contact. We did reach out to some people that we had information that were in the area on Monday, and they've all reported that they did not notice anything unusual.
Does he own that entire property past the gate? Is it his? So we noticed like there were 10 lots on the gate. Is all that his property or is it right away for other people?
There are several portions of property or tracts of land. He does own several of them. The area that this event occurred is roughly 2,533 acres, I believe.
Did the calls for service that you described, do you believe that maybe that played into his thought that the son was a possible intruder?
I'm not going to answer that at this point.
Do we know the age of the son? We put that on, it's on the press release.
20.
Has he come off remorseful at all? It doesn't seem like he has any resentment towards his son, if you could tell.
I have no indication, investigatively speaking, that would address that.
Do you know who Mr. Howard's attorney is?
Yes,
What's his name?
that's up for him to provide.
What's the time frame for the calls for service that you described, the prior ones?
The one on Friday?
The ones, the burglary, the theft.
Okay, the burglary occurred Friday afternoon. It was reported to the sheriff's office Friday afternoon through normal channels. In other words, called up to the sheriff's office. He contacted the deputies on the cell phone roughly a little before 2 p.m. on Monday.
And what about the animal theft? Was that also Friday?
Animal?
Is that what you said?
No, anvil, like an anvil.
Has any of that property been recovered?
No, none of that property has been recovered to date.
Is it a hunting lease also, or other people would have access to that?
I'm not familiar with that. I know there is one other individual we did interview as well that had access. In fact, he was referred to as a caretaker. All right, so with no further questions, Sheriff Tom Maddox thanks you for your attendance. He sends his apologies for not being able to be here. He's a little under the weather, but he wanted to make sure that we thank you for your attendance here today.
Can I ask one more question before Mr. Robbins?
Sure.
Murder is very broad, or is it going to maybe be first degree, capital, any of those things matter?
They all matter, but we don't have enough information to determine that.
We have just finished hearing from Sabine County investigators, specifically Investigator J.P. McDonough, regarding the Houston attorney who is now charged with murder and tampering with evidence surrounding a corpse following the death of his 20-year-old special needs son, Mark Howard. Michael Howard, the attorney, we know has a private practice here in the Houston Heights area, but has some 200 plus acres of land in Sabine County where this crime allegedly happened. We do know that he did call a deputy on November 29th, the investigator said, to report some burglaries and thefts on his property in Sabine County. Then on December 1st is when they believe the shooting happened, that he thought an intruder had come into his home, so he pulled out a shotgun and accidentally, according to his account, shot his son, Mark. Then the following day, December 2nd, is when the deputy, same deputy who got a call about the thefts on the 29th, also got a call on his cell phone from Michael Howard stating that the incident had happened and that a horrible accident had happened, as he referred to it, and that his son was shot. So the deputies and investigators showed up at the scene with Texas Rangers, and upon searching the property and going to a trash pile, which Michael Howard reportedly took them to, noticed that there were bones and body parts that were cremated in a pile. Michael Howard reportedly told authorities that that is how his son Mark had wished to be buried. Everything else, as far as filling in those holes, there's no official timeline of the events that happened in between the 1st and 2nd, other than they believe the shooting happened on December 1st and that the body was cremated on the 2nd. Michael Howard is being held on a $20 million bond. The district attorney, Paul Robbins, there in Sabine County, mentioned that there could be another charge of tampering with evidence because investigators also noticed that the crime scene had been hosed before he had contacted officials. So they believe that he committed the crime, did the burning, and then tried to clean up the evidence. So more potential charges could be coming from this investigation. For now, we're going to wrap it up here online. Be sure to join us on television for the latest details this evening.